It was a Sunday afternoon in January. I had preached that morning here at All Saints, and now my daughter Elizabeth and son-in-law Matthew were coming to spend the night. They arrived at my door carrying a big gift bag. It was pink. Usually, Elizabeth isn't quite as anxious and enthusiastic about opening gifts as I am, but that day she wanted me to open the gift right away. There were several items wrapped in the bag, and she wanted me to open them in a very specific order. First, there was a t-shirt in my size, and emblazoned on the front were the words, "I love you a bushel and a peck," a line from the old Doris Day song that my mom sang to me, to my brother, and to all three of her grandchildren. Next was a matching baby onesie that also said, "I love you a bushel and a peck." And finally, a card with the print of a sonogram tucked inside. Now, I'm sure you realize that bag contained the news that Elizabeth and Matthew were going to be the parents of a little girl. It was unexpected, even though goodness knows the gifts in that big pink bag certainly should have given me plenty of hints. It was very unexpected. After a year of painful difficulties and disappointed hopes, causing us to wonder if being parents would ever be possible for Matthew and Elizabeth. My memory is a little fuzzy about what happened next. After I had unwrapped all the gifts, read the card, and looked at that sonogram print, but I do recall that I hugged Elizabeth and I said something to her. But for the life of me, I could not remember what I said. A little later in the day, I asked her because I wanted to be able to treasure that moment and those words that I had spoken to her when I received this news. Well, it seems my first words to her after getting this wonderful, impossible, very unexpected news were, "Are you serious?" Not exactly my proudest moment as a grandma-to-be. Have you ever received unexpected, impossible news that was just too hard to believe? News that you couldn't believe because of what had come before? News you thought you would never receive, even when it was very good news? Well, I think that is what happened to me that Sunday afternoon in January. It was just too unbelievable. And I'm guessing that may be what happened when the women who had visited Jesus' tomb and found it empty shared the news with the 11, the apostles. I think most of us probably find it hard to understand the drama of this moment, the unexpectedness of this moment, the pure unbelievability of this moment. Because you see, we've heard this story so many times, and we know the ending. But no one living in that moment, no one, absolutely no one expected the resurrection. Even though Jesus predicted his death and resurrection several times during his ministry, no one seems to have greeted the news that God had raised Jesus from death and destruction with a shout of, "Alleluia, Christ is risen," or a statement saying, "I told you so, I knew it would happen, just like he said." As preaching professor Anna Florence Carter once said in an interview, "If the dead don't stay dead, what can you count on?" If the dead don't stay dead, what can you count on? The women certainly did not expect the resurrection. Mary, Joanna, Magdalene, and the other women had gone to Jesus' tomb in mourning and grief to follow the customs of preparing the body of a newly dead person with spices and ointments. They had seen Jesus die. And the 11 also didn't expect the resurrection. Luke's gospel tells us that Jesus' male followers had also seen him die, standing a ways off from the cross with the women and watching as the Romans executed Jesus. Now, much has been written about why all but one of the male apostles considered the words of the three women, the first witnesses to the resurrection, as an idle tale and refused to believe their report. Now, I'm giving Peter at least partial credit here. While he may not have believed the women outright, at least he was curious enough about what they had said to go and check it out for himself. It has been suggested by many people that these male apostles didn't believe because the report came from women. And I think that's possible. Even in our own country, women were not considered credible witnesses in court and allowed to serve on juries in all 50 states until 1975. But I wonder, would the apostles have believed it if 3 men had told them the news of the empty tomb? Frankly, I doubt it. If the dead don't stay dead, what can you count on? So how did the 11 move from disbelief to belief intense enough that they were able to follow the risen Christ and indeed change the world? Well, I think what Luke says about the women's movement from disbelief to belief tells us a great deal. Then they remembered his words. Then they remembered. They remembered. Yes, no doubt they remembered words that Jesus had spoken in Galilee about his death and resurrection. But I am guessing they also remembered conversations during meals with Jesus, his healings and his parables. Perhaps most of all, they remembered the new way of life they had found in Jesus. And even though they might not have totally understood the mystery of the resurrection, they were inspired to hope and to believe that it was true. So tonight, let us remember Jesus' words and deeds. Let us remember Jesus' words and deeds recorded in Scripture, and let us remember our own experiences of the risen Christ. Let us remember times when we have been blessed with new life beyond our comprehension, in times when we have literally been saved from ourselves. As Nadia Bolz-Weber describes it, God simply keeps reaching down into the dirt of humanity and resurrecting us from graves we dig for ourselves through our violence, our lies, our selfishness, our arrogance, and our addictions. And God keeps loving us back to life over and over. And we may not totally understand the mystery of the resurrection, even as those women who came to the empty tomb didn't understand it. But may we, like they, be inspired to hope and to believe that it is true. This night, as we have stood at the empty tomb with those women, let us know this: goodness is stronger than evil. Love is stronger than hate. Light is stronger than darkness. Life is stronger than death. Alleluia, Christ is risen.